Hi, I'm Johnny John. Spiritual lessons are the lessons in life which can help us to grow spiritually. And this is about becoming ever more accepting, more compassionate, more loving, more wise. Spiritual lessons are often very difficult to find, hidden from view. Today, I'm going to introduce you a way to discover the lessons that are unique to you through exploring the opposites of who we are. This will be less technical and less difficult than the other ones. So when you're ready, let's begin. Spiritual lessons are lessons which can help us to grow spiritually. This includes the process of becoming ever more accepting, loving, compassionate, happy. Basically all spectrums of positivity and happiness. Today I want to talk about a way to discover those lessons, and that is through exploring the opposites of who we are. What you can do is to ask yourself, what are my strong traits? For instance, what am I good at? What beliefs do I have that I strongly believe in? What are the things I must have in life? Then after discovering your strong traits, then you can look at its opposites to find the clues to your spiritual lessons. For instance, if you have a strong trait of living in a carefree, improvised way, then you can ask yourself, can I accept a life which is structured and planned? Whenever you question for the answer, always ask, feel inwards. If inner pain or discomfort is experienced towards that idea, then that may be a sign of a negative idea, which means an idea that you cannot accept. Another example, if you happen to have a strong trait to be structured all the time, then you can ask yourself, can I let go of structure and live in a spontaneous way? Or if your strong trait is being silent all the time, then can you be loud? Another example, if your strong trait is being nice all the time, can you be rude? And some other examples, if you're religious, can you let go of your religion? If you really want to be rich, can you be poor? Remember that the core of spiritual lessons are lessons which will make us grow to become ever more accepting. So what we cannot accept will always be our spiritual lessons. The undertaking of the spiritual lessons will take us on a journey towards accepting all there is. Often the strong traits we have are there because of the rejection we have towards its opposite. For instance, we may like to be loud because we hate being silent. Not saying that this is the case for every trait, but this can often happen. And thus this method of exploring our strong traits can be a gateway for self-discovery. So if you do find that you cannot accept the opposite of your strong trait, then to accept it will be your spiritual lesson. To learn how to accept it, to learn why you cannot accept it, a journey of self-knowing. And on such a journey, one will no doubt face confusions. Because when we are asked to accept what we cannot accept, the mind will be angry and scoff at such an idea, which it always has rejected. Of course it will. That's the reason for the lack of acceptance in the first place. So you will no doubt encounter a lot of inner resistances. So the idea of accepting something we cannot accept can be unsettling to the mind, a bit weird, a bit unreasonable. And the mind will fight, and most often it will win, because our current beliefs are the beliefs that we have been living with for a lifetime. But remember, to transform the mind is to go against the mind, to go against our current beliefs so that it can be refined. So it's natural if you experience inner resistances. It's natural if you experience confusions. Just focus on developing self-knowing. Keep on searching for the answers to the questions. Why can I not simply accept myself? Why can I not accept the opposite of who I am? Why can I only accept myself under the condition that I have to have money, that I have to be spontaneous, that I have to be polite? Your mind will begin to fight you with its analysis, issues to do with morals, ethics, cultural values, expectations, blah blah blah. I won't go into details into how to approach our spiritual lessons, as the focus is in discovering them, but to work through the confusions of the spiritual lessons, realize that the greater work is always done within. To accept is not about becoming what you cannot accept. To accept being poor is not about learning how to become a poor person. It is about accepting oneself, even if one is poor. It is about accepting the opposite of who you are at the state of the mind. And realizing this, one will be able to make great progress on their journey of self-transformation. Although a transformative catalyst one can use is to become what you cannot accept, to study the mind as to why the self-rejection is there. This is a catalyst for the adept, because it can be traumatizing. The practice of meditation will be so ever helpful to you on the journey of transforming the mind, because it will help to bring clarity and wisdom within. Again, I have many free meditation courses on my website, and I strongly recommend you to take up one, because the journey of self-transformation can be full of darkness and confusion, and it's good to have a guide. Use the website as a guide. So I have talked about how we can explore the opposites of ourselves to find the aspects of ourselves that we cannot accept. These will be our spiritual lessons. I want to also say that by developing the acceptance towards what you cannot accept will help to complement the skill that you lack. What do I mean by this? An example, in the past when I used to write music, I didn't like to have a structure. My belief was that music should always be flowing naturally, so I wrote music without a key and time signature. It was after I began to explore the opposites of who I was, I decided to learn about structures and used it to write my music. After learning how to use structures, I found that it actually made my music flow even better, and it made the writing process 5 times faster. So realize, the spiritual lessons will always take us to accept the opposite of who we are, and it doesn't mean to abandon who we were. For instance, now having accepted both the spontaneous and structured side of myself, I could use both sides whenever I want, whenever I need. Whereas in the past, when I only had the spontaneous side, it was like I only had one hand to work with, and now it feels like I have two hands. So accepting the opposite allowed me to feel what I lacked. Again, I want to keep this talk short, so I don't want to go into too much details about the self-transformative processes. I'll just give you one final tip. A tip that can help you to transform your mind is to begin accepting all those people that are opposite to who you are. This will help to accelerate your progress, because to the deeper mind, there is only one self. Let me give you an example. So in the past, I had this really cool manager who was pretty relaxed. He didn't care about structures, so he didn't really care when people came back from breaks late. Then my manager got replaced by someone who was really strict. In the beginning, I really hated her for being so strict with everything. She was like a micromanager, had to have processes, and she wants the desk cleaned by the end of the day. I don't like that because I like to have all my stationery on the desk, so I don't have to set it up again. Anyways, I tried to accept her for who she was, and this took a long time. And in those years, I began to realize that in the attempt to accept her and love her for who she is, I was actually accepting parts of myself that I could not accept. From her, I learned how to apply structures into my life. From her, I learned how to accept myself. And the more I accepted her, the less I saw her in a negative light. And the more I accepted the idea of having structures in everything I do. But I also accept myself for being messy. So when she yells at me for having a messy desk, that's her spiritual lesson. So I hope that this video has helped you to understand the importance of accepting all parts of the self. That is how we undertake and complete our spiritual lessons, through self-acceptance, unconditional self-acceptance.